All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Myesha Johnson, November 2 X-Ray India Tango. I am the Assistant Emergency Coordinator for Bill for Public Information here in Hillsborough County. So today I wanted to talk about Field Day. It's coming up, and the way I look at it, if you guys didn't have this on your radar, now is a really good time to talk about it. So what is it and when is it? Field Day for this year is going to be Saturday, June 27th through Sunday the 28th, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and ending at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a national 24-hour emergency communications exercise, and it's free to do. There's nothing special. You don't have to pre-register or anything like that. You can plan it well in advance or decide to do it at the last minute. But it's an opportunity for us to be able to exercise our skills. And we're going to kind of cover some of the benefits and take a look at how we can try to boost our participation. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to tie this right off the bat to the mission statement for ARES. So your group probably has some version of this as a mission statement, and I'll just read it off here. ARES strives to be an effective partner in emergency disaster response, providing the citizenry and public service safety partners with communications expertise, situational awareness, and compatibilities of professional communicators. So the big thing here is, who are we serving? And once again, professional. How do you become professional at something? You do it with a high level, of service, and you're practiced at it, okay? So I want you guys to think about how Field Day can improve our ability to carry out the emergency communication services that we exist to do. So in our case, who do we serve as Hillsborough County ARES RACES? We serve the Hillsborough County Office of Emergency Management. That's our first customer. Our second customer is going to be the public, and then anybody else that emergency management directs us to assist. So that's kind of your pecking order. And once again, professionalism, that's for no matter who our customer is, that's the kind of level of service we want to be able to provide. Once again, Field Day is an opportunity. This is our chance to demonstrate that we're committed to serving, and in this case, it's a 24-hour exercise, and it's good timing. It's the beginning of hurricane season, and it's a good way to get things started. I always ask people when I do any kind of presentation, when's the best time to prepare for hurricane season? Anybody? Now, anytime, when it's not hurricane season, those are kind of things. So, it's a good time to dust things off, get things exercised, and a good opportunity, as an individual, like each of us, and also as an organization to get some practice. So there is a classification just for us with EOCs. It's going to be the F class. It is limited exclusively to EOC, so no one else or any other clubs or organizations are able to operate as an EOC. Benefits, you are using your infrastructure at your designated site. In some cases you've got emergency power, and these are kind of mentioning like a bonus. You have the opportunity to be able to gain bonus points for emergency power. You can use utilize the free UHF VHF station without impacting the number of transmitters you're running for the event, so your classification. And if you're running 2 or more transmitters, you're eligible for a go to station. So those are some things that you guys can think about as far as your capability on our operating Field Day as an EOC. This is just a quick summary of our participation in West Central Florida in 2025. So there were 3 counties activated with 4 locations. For Hillsborough County, we operated here out of our radio room, which is directly off of the back of the EOC here. Kings Point is a backup EOC for Hillsborough County, they also activated. Sarasota and DeSoto also were active. So, we did pretty good. So that's 30% of our counties are activated. So let's look at the other two sections in the state. North Florida, 43 counties, 6 activations. So, that participation percentage went down. And then South Florida, 14 counties, 1 activation. So I think we did pretty good as a group. I would say let's see what we can do this year, right? So some benefits of field day, and you guys can hop in here. I like to try to be as interactive as possible. So you get to practice operating. So the volunteers, you might have some newly licensed volunteers to your group. This is a great opportunity to help get them a little bit of experience, practicing those good operating skills. Has anyone forgotten to been on the air and forgotten to give their call sign after 10 minutes? Me? Anybody else? Okay. This is a good opportunity to practice that because you kind of get tunnel vision with what you're doing, especially if you're, doing field day or, you have a task that you're doing on a training exercise. It's kind of a good opportunity to just kind of get into that or keep that good habit if you already have it, or develop it if we need to. An opportunity for your volunteers to get familiar with the equipment that's present. It's a good recruiting opportunity if you get some visitors that come out to visit you, so they can learn about what you're doing and how they can help. And then testing equipment. I'm sure just like with anybody, you've got equipment that's been sitting there, and the last time you touched it, it could have been a year or 2 or 5. So field day is a good chance to take a look at the equipment that you have, test it out, and then does it work? If it doesn't work, can you fix it quickly? Those are things that you guys can practice and try. Field day can be another opportunity for you to take an inventory of what you have and kind of looking at what do you have versus what do you need. Also, experimenting and trying new things. Has anybody's group ever done satellite contacts? We're going to take a stab at it this year. I mean, it's a shot at potentially doing a bonus point that we've never done before. So we're also going to try FT8 for the first time this year. So we're trying to kind of expand horizons, and it's an opportunity to learn something that that someone might take an interest in, and then also seeing if they can become a subject matter expert, so to speak, and be able to teach other people. Because anything that you can do to put out little classes, trainings, things like that, you can draw people into your group. Once again, tying that back to recruiting. And then, of course, identifying your strengths and weaknesses. What are you good at? What do you need to improve? And making sure that you document it so that way you can build upon it for next year. So next thing up, documentation. So I want to say this and say it again. Make sure you submit your logs if you participate in field day, okay? It's almost like one of those, if you didn't write it down, you didn't do it. If you didn't submit your logs, you didn't really have something concrete to go by. So I'm gonna call this our even if. So I want you guys to not cheat yourselves out of, not credit, but don't cheat yourself out of being able to document that, you did this, because at the end of the day, field day is an exercise. So even if you don't think what you did was impressive, make sure you submit your log. Even if you only had just a few operators, it's okay. You might have a deployment or an assignment that only requires 1 or 2 people. That is that can be a strength where you only have 1 or 2 people present. They need to be able to do whatever the task at hand is by themselves or just relying on each other. What if you only operated for a few hours? It doesn't matter, you still operated. If you didn't get too many visitors, that's okay too. So just remember that whatever your result is, all the results are published in QST Magazine in the December issue. It doesn't matter how many points you have or how many you didn't have, your results will be published. Next up, I want you guys to remember, be your own cheerleader. So when it comes to field day, write up a little summary, email it to your emergency coordinator, so that way they can share it with their emergency manager. So that way that the emergency management can know what we're doing and how we're preparing in order to be able to serve them. So, you know, some key information would be, you know, what your classification was, how many hours that you operated, how many people you had that were operating and how many visited, the number and type of contacts. It doesn't have to be exact. You know, sometimes you know, depending on how you did your logging, you may just be able to give an estimate, but that's good. And anything else you have that you feel was notable that you wanted to report. So you want to make sure that that emergency management and your served agencies know what you're doing and how you're working to prepare. Next up, an after action report that you write, that is going to make field day a formal exercise for you. So, you know, write down those strengths and those weaknesses that you documented. Get together with the people who operated and were part of the planning for field day. It can be in person. You know, you guys can do do a Teams meeting. You can just do an email where you just ask everybody to kind of give their comments and then use that to put together your after action. And just remember, you're going to forget details. So this is going to be something that you use to refer back to. And, you know, you can look at it for planning for next year or even 5 years down the line to see, you know, what you guys did at any point in time and what you identified that worked well for you so you can continue to do it and where you need to improve. So keep in mind, field day is a tool. And remember, if you are operating out of your established EOC, you're probably going to have at least some equipment set up. So use what you have. For us, I can walk into the radio room, turn the lights on, connect the antennas, turn on the radio, and I can pretty much be ready to go. That can be for sure a strength because you don't need as many people to be able to pull off field day as if you were a club and you had to set everything up outdoors, okay? Also, minimal setup and also breakdown. You know, it's kind of like, just clearing things up, stacking up any papers we use and kind of restoring things back to where it was when I started, and then I'm done. Also, use field day once again to strengthen your relationship with your with the EOC and the emergency manager. Try requesting a proclamation if you guys have not done that from your county commission or your city, whoever it is that you guys are dealing with. It's a great way to recognize not just your emergency management, your emergency communicators that are part of your group, but also your other local radio clubs, because your proclamation is for Amateur Radio Week, which it kind of is encompassing ARRL Field Day. Also, make sure you give that summary to your county emergency manager after Field Day, and then when the results are published in December, give them a recap of how you did. Once again, your summary is kind of like an estimate of where you were, and then the published result is the actual formal result. Also, if you have any equipment that you would like to use or be of value, make sure that you ask your emergency manager to be able to utilize that. So a few that get used for some of the local clubs and organizations in our area. The Solar Trailer, Kings Point made use of that. The Mark Unit, Tampa Amateur Radio Club, they generally request that for the tower capability every year. Mobile command vehicle, we did make an attempt to do that in 2022, but we had a generator failure on that, so we came back into the building, but we still tried, so it was still of use. And then, if you have an alternate EOC site, that might be a good exercise to work out of that area, especially if it's something that you don't get to utilize very often. Okay, so this year, emergency management, they really surprised our group. They decided to acknowledge Hillsborough County Areas Races and also Kings Point for their participation in Field Day for 2025. That was presented to us on, I believe it was May 14th, at the by one of the county commissioners. So they acknowledged our performance. And some of the key points that were emphasized there was Hillsborough County, we did it with minimal staffing. There were 2 of us that activated the EOC last year for Field Day. And Kings Point, they made use of the solar trailer for the first time. That was a new piece of equipment. So they were able to run their entire operation, or as far as all the equipment, off of that solar trailer. So that was a good exercise, and that was something that we made sure we emphasized when we made our summary and report to our Bill, our emergency coordinator, and who in turn went to the emergency manager with that information. It was nice to be recognized for our efforts. And in turn, if you are an emergency coordinator for your area, or the person who's just managing Field Day for your club or your areas group, for sure, just making sure that you thank your volunteers and participants for their hard work. A thank you goes a long way. All right. So just keep in mind, for Field Day, it's not a competition, but it's about you participating, and it's about your service. And keep in mind, you can scale up or you can scale down. Volunteers is what's going to make or break you. So for Field Day, it's kind of hard because you're competing with your local clubs and things like that are out there. So also, if you're short of people, maybe consider doing a combined effort with some of the other radio clubs in your area. You can, join forces, decide on the call sign that you're going to use for Field Day, and you guys can can try something new for the first time. And just remember that you have to operate from an EOC or a site that's designated as an EOC, and that will be done by your local emergency coordinator. So I'll leave you guys with this. What do you guys think that West Central Florida can do for 2026? Do you guys think we can do more than 4? I'll put that out there to see if there's anybody else who would like to try to get something off the ground. Field Day is 6 weeks out. Ask your emergency coordinator, what are we doing for Field Day? Step up and volunteer and say, hey, I'm willing to coordinate it or organize it. It doesn't take a whole lot. It's something that's free, takes a little bit of time. And remember, it's not about exercising the entire 24 hours. If you're not capable, if you don't have the volunteers, it's okay. If you can get together for 4 or 6 hours, it's still worthwhile, okay? And once you guys decide if you're gonna participate, please do add your location to the Field Day map. You'll get some very special visitors over in the corner. Daryl? You guys are gonna do your convoy again?
Myself and RTD are going south this year. We didn't go south last year. And right behind you, he's going north.
Okay.
I'm going north and still looking for a rider.
And
Okay.
David looked for someone to go with him on that part of the trip.
Okay, perfect. All right. So that's my presentation. Thank you guys for your time, for your attention. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions on making Field Day better? Yes.
How do you handle the secure building as far as folks coming in and out or invited guests?
What I do is I put out that we're open to visitors. Usually I'll put down for 2 to 6 p.m. on that Saturday, and I put a sign on the door for entry, call, and I put my name and Bill Williams. We're usually the 2 that are here for building access and all of that, and put our phone numbers for people to call for entry, and then we'll go and escort them back for the visit, and then we take them out when they're ready to go. Great question. Anything else? Any other comments, suggestions? All right.
You have one job.